What's up, everybody? Beau-hindman back with another quick video. This time I'm going to be looking at another governor. A governor is basically the little human pilots of Hexagear model kits. If you're not familiar with all my reviews on something, for example, in this case I'm reviewing a Hexagear. Up in the corner here somewhere, probably, I should put a playlist. What I've been doing is putting all of my different toy reviews into playlists. And in those playlists you can find all of them in one, easy to find. So check my playlist section of my site. You'll see the Hexagear or Ben 10 or Rahia or whatever else, and hopefully I'll have all the videos in there together. Let's take a look real quick at the instruction manual. I'm going to move her to the side before we cover her. Pretty basic stuff. If you built a governor before, you're going to be familiar with this. This is the Governor Light Armor Rose version 1.5. I'm not completely familiar with all of Hexagear's, lore and stuff, but I believe that means it's a newer version of the Rose Governor. I have no idea. Governors are a bit expensive. They're not cheap, in the 20s at least, for many of them. But you do get some extra cool parts, and I'll go over all of that real quick. You get, of course, the stuff to make the governor instruction manual, the order list for, I guess, missing parts. Somebody in the comments, if you know this, tell me what this is. Isn't that just a missing part reorder form? Because you can lose these parts. In fact, that's one of the bad parts about these builds, is they are very, very tiny. In fact, let me show her first, and then I'll go over the extra stuff, because I'm going to show you something here. You see that little bitty, let me use my tweezers here. You see this little bitty hair here? It's boop, 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 boop. That actually goes in a little slot there. And that is a separate part that was not impossible to get in, but they have little parts like that are pretty damn close to impossible, because you have to actually press them into a slot. And you can just see the slot there maybe. It's hard to see because this is a very small person here, but I chose to add this kind of hair instead of the long hair. I added this little bow in the back. This would look fantastic with just a basic wash, or even just a panel lining in the hair. That would look really, really good. Bring it out. The fact that the hair matches the color of the skin is a little odd, so you definitely want to do something at least with the hair. And if I can get really closer, I don't think I can, but you can just see she actually has detail in her eyes. So there is some detail there. Excuse my gross cut up hands, because I'm always doing something that cuts up my hands. They're very posable, as usual, but governors tend to be not fragile, but they tend to be a bit, you've got to be careful with how you pose them, and as you're posing them, you kind of got to do it slowly. I'd recommend getting some tweezers like this if you're going to put them into any type of, kit or anything like that. Then it's a little bit easier than using your big dumb hands to get into place, because you'll just find parts come off. Excuse me, see, I just hit the camera. Like this little hand, you can see how easily it comes off. That's good and bad, because it's easier to kind of replace the hand. That's a hand that's just holding the sword. I'll go over some of the optional parts in a minute. But as you pose it, try and just hold certain areas, and just take your time posing it, because all these little bits tend to come off. That's one of my only problems with Hexagear, or with the governors, I should say. The regular Hexagear is fantastic. It's really, really tough in a lot of ways. It's kind of like Lego tough. But the governors are just a bit, there you go, just a bit, not fragile, and sometimes they can just fall over or you lose a part just breathing on it. But so many little details in her. This was just a little gun I placed here. You can actually just place there on the side. I thought this was funny. They recommended, that's the holster, I guess. Just throwing it on the side, which I thought was really, really funny. Let me see if I can take it off. It just literally goes on that little peg. And then this gun, you can switch out the hand there, and you can hold the little gun. She does look really cool. You've got a few different choices of heads. I'm getting dog hair over everything. Let me show you some of the choices here. So you got 3. I'm not going to pull it out here, because I'll probably, just save these. I might try them on later, whatever you got. That, I think the heads are all the same face, but it has options for different sculpts and stuff on the head, or like a helmet and stuff. So I wanted to try some of these other ones. I thought this purple one looked cool. I thought this one looked really cool. It was mostly helmet and just a little face, and then you've got that one that's just a kind of a little cap on the head. Then you get all this, as with hexagear, you get all these little extra bits and baubles, which this is the best part about hexagear. This is all stuff that you can throw on something else. It's a universal system, so you can just go boop and put that long flowing hair. Again, though, that really needs some kind of wash or something. Just to look at the details, really, really good, but you need to do something with it. But as with all hexagear, you can just take these parts, and I saved some here, you know, so I saved these little bits here, and those are like backup parts for other governors. I don't think that the governor parts tend to work, quote unquote, on like a hexagear kit, but all governors work together. See, there's the sword just by itself. Really cool little weapon. You might use it on another governor. I'm not sure what that is for. I need to check what that is. You just get a ton of little neat little stuff. There's more of those weapons. I'm not sure where you get two, and they're the same thing. Is that one? Why would she have so many of the same gun? I don't know what that is about, but maybe you can use that for something. I'll have to look in the instructions. These things go on the side of the head, as you can see here. So there's a couple options there. They're kind of like antenna, I guess. They're just kind of a cool looking design. I thought that was kind of neat. But again, you're getting just a ton of extra stuff. This was, I believe, a part in the belly and the waist to connect right there, I think. Really, really neat. Then you've got, this is the tiny little part I was talking about. So this is the little part in the front of the head. See the little hair hanging down? It was just a nightmare to get. Just a nightmare to get in. There might have been this one here, but one of these here, and it's just a total nightmare. Then you get a couple extra hands. Luckily, like I said, these pop right on and off, so you can just cut these off. You can take the gun here. This is the kind of idea. Excuse me. There we go. And you just basically pop that in there, and it holds it pretty sturdy. So there you've got your gun hand. Again, though, being that they're the same color, I wish that wasn't the case. I wish they would have made the guns a different color than the hands, because otherwise you're gonna have to paint those to kind of make them stick out. And a lot of people don't really enjoy painting hexagear necessarily. They just enjoy building it and stuff, and give you an idea. So you got a ton of little stuff. She's very, very posable. As I said, though, as you're posing her and moving her around, you can, some of these parts can, as with any governor, just pop off, like just fall off. That's cool. She could be parachuting in. You know, this sword hand is kind of goofy, but it's again, it's really easy just to kind of pop it off and pop the other one on there. So that's good. But I imagine that if you did any painting on these, as with any model, as you paint and add layers to it, it's going to tighten way up. Everything's going to get really nice, and it might even get on some of these parts, like the foot here is just basically a little hinge there. It might even get a little bit too tight, so you got to watch out for that, especially if you're flat coating and stuff. But other than that, it's a fun little. They're fun to play with. They're the pilots of the hexagear. So they're kind of meant to be inside there and to kind of chill. But I also like that she does have this part on the back, that universal kind of backpack plug there. As you can see, it's hexagonal. I can never say that. And so that means like the what's it called? The sight. Anyway, the bird thing can mount right there, or you can mount other things on there, and it just looks cool. So she's a very cool looking figure. She's able to do all these cool poses and stuff. I tend to just put them in the hexagear, or just standing next to it and just leave them be. Mainly because they can be such a hassle to pose and put it, like if you're gonna sit her in there, you've got to kind of do all this really slow. In fact, what I would recommend is just taking a lot of time, and again, having these tweezers so that as you put her in, as you put the, if you put them inside the actual hexagear, you can kind of manipulate it without using your big dumb hands and making parts fall off and stuff. So she's probably just going to be inside something chilling out, but really, really a cool, I mean, as with all governors, really, really cool looking. They are pricey, but I think you get what you pay for. You get a ton of detail and all these extra parts. So they always, they always give you your bang for the buck. So she's cool. I'm glad I got her. That's the Governor light armor type Rose 1.5. I'm going to be marking these off. I've got a hexagear collection list. I'm trying to slowly build up and buy all the basic, at least the hexagear, not the governors necessarily. Those are kind of secondary, but she's definitely going to go on that list. So let's take a second though and put her on the shelf and see what she looks like next to some hexagear. Okay, so there she is next to, this is my little hexagear area that I'm slowly adding to and mixing up and all that stuff like that. There is, I think that's the War Mage Governor there, and she is in front of the Knight Governor, I believe that's what he's called. And what's funny is I'm surprised at how well she actually stands up on those little razor thin. You can see looking at this, the foot that is on our left, how thin that foot is. It's not really even a kind of a clumpy foot. It's almost like a rollerblade in a way, or something. And she really does stand up on there well. I'll probably put her inside one of these, maybe even on this guy here or whatever. I'm not really sure, but she does look fantastic. Goes well on the shelf. Looks really nice and dynamic. So excellent, worth it. I'll see you guys on the next one then. Bye-bye.